Coping with shame, searching for value outside yourself. In the previous video, we spoke about shame identity, and that shame is much more than just a feeling, but it's actually a belief about yourself. It's a belief that says, I'm not enough. There's something wrong with me. I'm less valuable than other people. I am defective. I am unlovable. But if there's one thing that human beings desperately need, it's a sense of value. Every person needs to believe that they matter. Every person needs to feel that they belong to something. Every person needs to feel they have worth. Every person needs to feel that their existence has significance. The problem is, shame attacks value at its source. Shame convinces people that they do not have value inherently. And once that happens, people then spend the rest of their lives trying to acquire value from some external source. This is the foundational understanding of shame coping. Most coping strategies are not actually attempts to feel good, they are attempts to feel valuable. The person is attempting to answer a question which was never properly answered in childhood. Do I matter? Am I enough? Do I have value? And because they don't believe that they possess value internally, they start looking for it externally. The value of a baby. Imagine a newborn baby. The baby contributes nothing. The baby earns nothing. The baby produces nothing. The baby achieves nothing. The baby cannot help around the house. The baby cannot get good grades. The baby cannot earn money. The baby cannot become successful. The baby cannot impress anyone. In fact, actually, the baby just takes. It mostly takes. It requires attention. It requires feeding. It requires changing. It requires care. It requires time. It requires energy. Yet nobody looks at the baby and thinks, what exactly has this baby done to earn value? Nobody will look at a baby and say, this baby needs to prove itself first. Nobody's looking at a baby and saying, once this baby becomes productive, then it will matter. And I know that this is quite a funny analogy, but the point is, the baby's value exists before it becomes productive. Its value exists before achievement. Its value exists before success. The baby's value exists simply because it exists. This is the key to understanding the foundation of a healthy identity. Healthy people grow up believing, I have value because I am a human. I have value because I exist. I have value before I achieve, before I succeed, before I prove myself. This is what it means to have inherent value. Inherent value just means your worth is not earned. It's not negotiated. It's not dependent on some performance. It's not dependent on success. It just simply exists. What shame does to your sense of value. Shame disrupts this understanding. The child does not receive consistent messages that they matter. Instead, they receive messages that suggest that value is conditional. So then what does the child learn? The child learns, I only matter when I perform. I only matter when I succeed. The child will say to itself, unconsciously, you only matter when you're good, when you behave. You only matter when you make your mum and dad proud. You only matter when you meet expectations. You matter only when you make other people happy. So then the child gradually develops a completely different understanding of worth. So instead of I have value, the child begins to interpret I need to work for my value. I need to earn my value. And this changes everything because now value becomes something outside of the self, something that must be obtained, something that can be lost, something that must be constantly defended. And this creates enormous anxiety. The bucket with a hole in it. One way to think about shame is like a bucket that's actually got a hole in the bottom of it. The person feels empty, not because they lack accomplishments, not because they lack relationships, not because they lack intelligence. They feel empty because they believe on an unconscious level that they do not possess value. So what do? They start filling the bucket. Achievement goes into the bucket. Compliments go into the bucket. Money goes into the bucket. Success, relationships go into the bucket. Attention goes into the bucket. Approval goes into the bucket. Validation goes into the bucket. And for a brief moment, They feel better. It actually works. For a brief moment, they feel valuable. But then the feeling disappears. The hole is still there. So then what do? Need more achievement, more approval, more validation, more success, more recognition. The problem was never the amount of value being poured into the bucket. The problem was the hole at the bottom, the underlying shame identity, drawing value from achievement. So then many people learn to draw value from accomplishment. Their internal equation becomes value equals achievement, value equals success, value equals more women that I've slept with, value equals more money that I've made, productivity equals value, being successful equals value, achievement equals value, being impressive equals value. And it's not to say that a lot of people who have become successful haven't used this as a motivator. These people become highly driven. They work harder than everyone else. They constantly pursue goals. They constantly seek improvement. They constantly push themselves. And from the outside, people probably admire them. But internally, they often feel exhausted because every achievement is carrying too much weight. The achievement is no longer just an achievement, it's proof of worth. The promotion is no longer just a promotion, it's evidence that I matter. The successful business is no longer a business that's successful, it's more evidence that I matter. Creating a YouTube channel like this is no longer just creating a YouTube channel, it's evidence that I matter. So please subscribe. The problem is that no amount of achievement can fully take away that burden. Sooner or later, that person will need another accomplishment, another milestone, another form of success, another source of value, drawing value from relationships. And then another strategy for some people is to draw value from having a relationship. They're always in a relationship, or maybe they go from relationship to relationship. Their equation becomes being wanted equals value, being loved equals value, being chosen equals value, being desired equals value. These individuals often become extremely sensitive to rejection because rejection is no longer just rejection. It's now a loss of value, a loss of sense of self. Imagine two people going on a date. The first one believes that they have inherent value. The second one believes that their value comes from being chosen. For the first person, if the date doesn't go that well, they may feel slightly disappointed. But for the second person, they may feel devastated because rejection seems to confirm what shame already believes. I am not enough. I am not desirable. I do not matter. And this is why relationships become so loaded for shame-based individuals. The issue is that they are trying to get value from another person. They are trying to solve, through another human being, their own identity problem. And no one can have that responsibility. No relationship can carry that burden. Drawing value from appearance. Some people learn to draw value from physical appearance. The equation becomes attractiveness equals value, beauty equals value, physique equals value, fitness equals value, youth equals value. Their sense of worth rises and falls depending on how they look. There's nothing wrong with looking good or striving to look good, but when your sense of worth is dependent on it, it becomes much more riskier to not look good. For them, losing some physique or losing muscle can feel catastrophic. For some women, just like a wrinkle can feel really threatening. And why is this? It's because their appearance has become their source of value, especially if they were very beautiful growing up. Their source of value was derived from their beauty. Now their source of value is under threat. And you see this with celebrities that get loads of plastic surgery because they believe that their value is drawn from how good looking they are. And you can see this with celebrities now that actually look terrible in their 60s and 70s because they have just tried to reconstruct their face. It's actually very sad to see. Again, the deeper issue isn't appearance. The deeper issue is shame. The person doesn't believe that they possess value inherently. So what they're doing is they're searching for it in their reflection, drawing value from intelligence. Others draw value from being smart. Their equation becomes being intelligent equals value, being right equals value, knowledge equals value, competence equals value, proving other people wrong equals value. These individuals often struggle deeply when they do not know something. They struggle when they make mistakes. They struggle when somebody corrects them. And this isn't because mistakes are painful, it's because mistakes now deeply say something about them. Their shame-based system says, if I'm not smart, what does that say about me? What does that say about my value? Their shame-based system says, if I'm wrong, what is my worth? Drawing value from helping others. Another common coping strategy is becoming indispensable to other people. This may seem harmless at first, but it's actually one of the most dangerous on this list. These people feel like they have to rescue. These people draw value from supporting, rescuing, fixing. Their equation becomes being needed equals value. If people are depending on me, then I matter. If I can solve other people's problems, then I matter. These people often become extremely exhausted. They feel like they need to take responsibility for everyone. They struggle having boundaries and they feel extreme guilt saying no. Drawing value from being special. Some people feel they have to be exceptional to have value. They feel they have to be the smartest, the most unique, the most talented, the most spiritual, the most extraordinary, because they believe that ordinary feels dangerous. Ordinary means that they feel that they don't have inherent value, because ordinary to them just seems worthless. The shame-based identity or belief that's underneath this is often, if I'm not special, then I just don't matter. I'm just like everybody else. But then this creates a never-ending race, because there'll always be someone who is more talented, more unique, more spiritual. And so the pursuit will just never end. The problem with all of this is that it makes life extremely fragile. Everything can threaten it. Failure threatens it. Rejection threatens it. Criticism threatens it. Aging threatens it. Mistakes threaten it. Job loss threatens it. Relationship problems threaten it. Because all of those things seem to take away the thing that everybody's looking for, and that's the inherent value, which they already have, yet they don't know it because the shame has convinced them that they don't. So therefore, the shame-based identity is putting people in a constant state of psychological vulnerability. They are just constantly trying to protect something which they believe can be lost, when actually it cannot be lost. You cannot lose your inherent value. The central lie of shame. So the central lie of shame is simple. It's simply that you do not belong. You don't matter. And it's a lie. And because the person with shame believes the lie, they spend years trying to achieve it from the outside world. They try and achieve it from success. They try and achieve it from relationships. They try and achieve it from validation, approval. And sometimes they actually succeed. They get what they're actually pursuing. Maybe a relationship, maybe more money, maybe more validation. But the same thing always happens. They eventually discover that that feeling doesn't last. That relief fades. The emptiness returns. And then they just start searching again. And this is why shame creates so much exhaustion, because the person is trying to earn something they already possess. The baby has value before it achieves. The child has value before it performs. The adult has value before it succeeds. The shame-based person cannot feel this truth because the shame has convinced them otherwise. Until that deeply held belief is challenged, every coping strategy will evolve around the same question. If I don't get my value from this, where does my value come from? If you want to explore this further, book a free call with me. We can explore this together and I'll lay out the steps, which really saved me a lot of time to get to the bottom of this and really start to see difference in your life. So go to the link below, go to the link in the first comments. And if you've enjoyed this video, obviously like, subscribe, comment. And then if you want to go into healing, understand healing better, go to this video here. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.